Hola.
Hi. Oh my goodness. We're back. Since our last interview, a lot of stuff has happened, and I have the privilege today. Wait, I gotta start. Welcome to Just Do It Sessions. We are interviewing today one of my friends, Nick Eckman. Is that how you pronounce
Wow. First time, yeah, 100%.
like your last name?
Yeah.
Like no problem.
As long as as far as I know. Then yes.
I would think it will have like some like Canadian, like maybe like accent or something like that.
Yeah, it's because I was adopted.
What? You were adopted?
By my dad, yeah.
Oh, for real. You know how people joke about that? Like, I'm adopted. I'm like the black sheep of the family or something like that.
Are you saying that because I'm black?
No.
Okay.
No. We're not going to joke about
Yeah,
that.
we're going to cut all this out.
Yeah, so we're out here, and Nick you're a photographer. You do video production. You you like to experiment.
Yeah.
I would like to say that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why you say that?
I think you're open. From the minute that we met,
Yeah.
you're a very open person. You're open to ideas, and you're a go-getter. Like, I feel like if someone has a vision, or even if you have a vision, why not, like, go get it? Mistake me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like that's why I like the production side and like producing videos and stuff, is because a lot of times like sets never go as planned. So
Yeah.
I like it a lot in that aspect, in that role, because of the fact that like you have to make it happen no matter what. Things like that happen all the time. So you have to be able to like do whatever it takes to just make it happen.
Yeah.
Or like this is called Just Do It.
Exactly. And I think for what you do, for when you expand it, it's like knowing how to work under pressure, but like not being, I think it's a process. Like when we first start off, it's like we don't like the pressure. It's like, man, we prepared all this stuff, but as you're mentioning, like as you keep doing it, it becomes something like it's normal. Like you just have to be prepared and flexible to kind of just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome. And so another one of the big fields that you do is photography.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Is it something that you grew up with? Like your parents, like, you know, were creatives and you kind of had found something? Was it something that you felt along the way? Like, tell me how that came to be.
I think it's funny that a lot of people have that story. Like, I remember when I got my first camera and I was like 5 years old and blah, 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 and that's like not my story. Also, I have a terrible memory, so maybe I had a camera when I was 5, but I wouldn't know. But no, my story was just like, I got a camera when I was actually a youth pastor. And so I got a camera to like take photos of the youth group and stuff while I was also leading the youth group. And then it was something I enjoyed doing. And I just found other avenues. I think I actually started with my phone, not just in youth ministry, but just in general. Like I would just take pictures of everything. Like I love to be able to like capture it and stuff. As I'm thinking about it right now, I realize the reason why though, I've always loved movies. So like a movie is literally like a bunch of photos ran together, right? That's what a video is.
Yeah.
And so movies, like I would always be like captivated by what you're seeing on screen and stuff. And so I think I always was fascinated by that. And so pictures was my way to be able to like capture something to be able to last and stuff. So I think it was cool.
Like capture a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I started with movies, then started with my phone, finally got a camera, like a Canon Rebel was my first camera. Shot, kind of did like as I needed and as I just like experimented with it. But just recently, like a year ago, is when I first started my LLC. Before that, I would be like...
Wait, hold up. So you took an interest, right?
Yeah,
you took an interest on photography. You started to kind of like it, and you're like, oh, I actually like doing this. You didn't know why, and then you kind of just keep exploring that. And how did that go from just doing it for fun to taking out an LLC?
Yeah.
Because we got viewers, we don't know.
I don't know, honestly. I think it was, so like for a long time, I would be like, oh, people say like, oh, like they look at my Instagram is just photography.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, you're a photographer. And it took me forever to be able to say that. I was like, nah, I just dabble in it and stuff. So I would, like for years. So I think 2018, 2019 is when I like would post a lot more, but still would just do it for fun, do like a few shoots here and there. But then 2023 or 2022 area, is when I actually like, all right, let me take this seriously and try to actually, let me see if I can make a career out of it. But I had to like build up confidence again. I took a break, like I wasn't really doing much with it. I was doing other jobs and stuff like that. And then finally getting back to it, I was like, no, I do love it. I started again actually on the photography team at the church I go to. And that's where I was like doing a lot of photos and I'm like, I've always loved it. And so I was like, all right, let me take this serious and do it for real.
And I want to take a pause there because I want to guide like almost a little bit this interview for people like that maybe have a gift or something like an interest that they really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And they don't take themselves serious. No, like I'm just taking pictures or something like that. You have maybe lots of people telling you, hey, like,
you're good at it.
You're good at it. Can you take pictures at this place? Or it can be with any art, really. And it's like, you mentioned a really good point. It's like taking taking confidence in yourself and saying like, hey, I actually enjoy doing this, and I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
Like I can do this.
Yeah. 100%. The biggest thing is like you being confident in your own art, and that's what stops a lot of people from pursuing anything because they don't think they're good enough to do it. And that's the thing is like, or they're not willing to do what it takes to be good enough to do it. Because like when you start, you're trash. Like my photos, looking back at it, I thought that they were good, but look back at it now, I'm like, the first photos, I was like super blue on everything. I was like, they were so cold. So like it just wasn't balanced right, but I was like, oh, this super edgy, super contrasty like stuff, and I'm like, but it's not even a good photo.
Right.
So a lot of people want to either start the business too early, and they're like overly confident, and they're like, I know how to work a photo or camera, so I'm going to start a business.
Yeah.
And then they don't take what it takes to actually grow in the skill set. And then the other side is just they never have the confidence.
Yeah.
And that's where I was for a long time, where I was like, even if people were telling me I'm good, I was like, but look at everyone else. And you're still, even as I do it now, I still have that same thing where I'm like, no, that's a real photographer. You know what I mean? Because it's like, how do they make that picture like stand out, or how do they make it different from everyone else's? Like it looks more professional than mine. So things like that. There's this guy I listen to, his name's Rick Rubin. He's like a big producer, big in the music industry, just like ultra creative.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things he says is that you have to create for yourself. And he said he thinks of the audience last. Like he never thinks of the audience. Because he said if you're creating for them, then you're not really creating art that's true to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you lose sight and you'll never be able to produce or make something that they want.
Yeah.
You have to make something that you want, and the right people will find your art. And so it's like a big difference and a big mindset shift to be able to do that.
I want to reiterate a point you also made. It's like wanting to, so the first step is like wanting to do it and deciding like, okay, I have the confidence, I can do this.
Yeah.
But then the second step is doing the work for it to be excellent.
Yeah.
Not perfect, you know what I'm saying, but excellent. And I think that's such a great point because a lot of people are like, okay, well, like you said, I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to do the back work. Take the classes, invest in the craft, you know, have help from other people, like get help from other people. They just want to kind of just go straight to it. So I love that you mentioned that it was not just like finding out, okay, I can take pictures, but now what things can I learn to perfect like this talent that is already given to me?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about is what do you think is like you're drawn to, or what is like your style in like photography, or like what do you like what captivates you the most, or does it change?
I feel like if I can see things in a different way, which that's the thing a lot of photographers like can just take a straight up picture, but you have to, it's called training your eye. Like you have to train your eye to see things in a way that is like, this is a good photo. And that's like before you ever pick up a camera and learn a camera, like you have to be able to see photos. So you have to know like that would be a good photo. Like I walk around all the time and like I used to teach photography a little bit, and I would tell them all that, like the same thing, like you have to be able to see a photo wherever you're at and be able to look at a scene and be like, that would be a good shot, that would be a good shot, let me change my angle, let me get lower, shoot up, like move that person there. How to frame and compose a shot is like way before you ever learn the technical aspect of a camera, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about your brand.
Yeah.
All right, Blurred Vision. I want to see a little bit of your work. Let's see some stuff.
Yeah. So Blurred, this is my website. I have overview, brands, music, travel. One of the hardest things, like when you're building your website, is knowing like how do I break out and break down like what I do.
Yeah.
And that's why they tell you to like niche down so you can just focus on one thing. Like wedding photographers are wedding photographers. You go to the website, it's all weddings.
It's all weddings.
For me, because of how many different styles I like to shoot, it's really hard to do that. But I've had to like still put myself in that because that's how you get clients. To know like, all right, this is the type of photographer I need. So for me, I went with the name that I went with, Blurred Vision, is because I tend to shoot a lot. I'll show you a few. this is a lot of like the music photography and stuff, and that's really where you'll see a lot of that, like kind of those blurry shots. So like this, but it's like intentional, and it's something that like really like captivated me because I love how like it shows motion and movement in a photo. And then sometimes even when there's not supposed to be motion and movement, so like this, but and like a few of these shots, it's just like another way, like an abstract way. I feel like it's like abstract photography.
Yeah.
You know how you have like abstract painting and stuff? Like it's just, you can tell what it is, but you can also sometimes can't tell fully what's happening in the scene. But then also like, scripture talks a lot about too, like how God gave sight to the blind. And so like your vision might have been blurry, but then he gave sight to allow you to see. So my faith incorporated into my name, but then also just in the sense of like, as a photographer, we're giving sight to people who don't see things the way that we see it. So like you have, so it's like a triple entendre if you're in the
Oh my God, that is so
right?
good.
Thanks.
That was deep.
That's my name. That's why I put Blurred Visions, because there's a lot of meaning behind it, and it goes into like what I do and who I am. So
Wow, I love that. I love that.
Thanks.
Like, yeah, get like allowing people to see in different perspectives.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Maybe I want to tear up a little bit. Okay. Okay. All right. Next.
Let's see. I really love sky pictures. I took this outside of a plane.
Wow.
And I love how it just shaped the clouds. And then the edit, like it was just something that like I wanted to travel my whole life, and I just, now that I'm in a position where I'm able to do it more, I'm like really thankful for that.
I love like the different shades of blue that nature, and like also the gift that we have to have a camera to kind of take in all those shades of blue.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Exactly. Thank you. So these were scenes and sets that like we actually went to Vegas for a content trip, and we coordinated a bunch of different types of storylines that we wanted to capture. And so we did a lot of planning beforehand, planning the locations. It was probably like 6 or 7 locations, 4 different days in a row, different outfits, different stories that we were trying to tell. So
Love that. Big landscape.
Cool. Yeah.
Talk to me about this picture right here.
So this one was one of my favorites. I do a lot of concert photography, and this one was at Melanie Martinez's show. This was her dancers, and it's actually inverted. So I shot it, and then as I was like, when I was going through culling my photos to go edit, I was like, this is one I want to flip upside down. So I actually flipped it. She's standing up here, obviously, but she was bent over, and the other girl was holding her back so she didn't fall. But I just thought, like, anytime I get to do like a reflection shot and invert it, it just plays with your mind, and it captures you to where it's like, hold on, I need to look at it a little longer to see everything that's happening. So it's straight up because it's very simple, right? It's just 2 people, and she's bent backwards, sticking her tongue out. But I love that, like, these types of photos, as simple as they are, it makes you want to look at it longer to process what you're seeing.
Oh, I mean, it's doing that to me right now. Like, I love the, like, there's many ways that you can interpret it. If you wouldn't have given me the context that it was in a Melanie Martinez concert, like, if I look at it a little bit from far away, it almost looks like a painting in a way. Like, it can play with, like, your mind a little bit, and like the colors. It's a ballerinas. Like, you can look like ballerinas. It just can look at like so many things. Yeah, it's a beautiful picture.
No, I appreciate it, and I think that's one thing too that embodies my art. Like, again, going back to my perspective of how I see things, like, this is how I want to see the picture. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to take it and just keep it normal, but like, I'm trying to push the bounds on like how I see things to how I can change it. Like, all right, I might have taken it one way, but how can I edit it to make it something that's like unique to itself?
How do you get yourself to do that, right? So maybe you've been doing things the same way for a long time, and you want to kind of like push that creativity like boundary and be like, okay, I want to do something else. Like, how do you get your mind into that? Do you ask yourself questions, advice from other people?
So again, going back to like how I consume a lot of different types of art, music. I don't just go to other photographers and let me just look at photography. Like, I try to see where I can get inspired from other things outside of what's already there. Like, that's like 1 + 1 = 2. So I want to see how else I can do it to where I can draw different information and connect the dots in a bigger picture. You know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't have to be linear. And I think if I can see art and my creative process as it's not just one straight road, like go forward, that I can pull things from everywhere, that helps. And I always heard too, like if you want, our pastor says it, he says if you want to be able to tell great stories, you have to live a great life. And so if you want to tell interesting stories, you have to live an interesting life. And so it's the same thing. If you want to create interesting art, you have to get yourself out to live an interesting life. So it's like, I'll work from coffee shops, I'll go to different places, like I want to experience and see different things. The reason I'm able to shoot so many different styles and so many different like just random stuff is because I'm out in the world more than someone who's just like, okay, I'm just going to a studio shoot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like street photography, being able to, even if you're not getting paid for it, like go and work on your craft, but you're also working on your creativity.
Can you give me some advice for someone that is struggling, right? They take good pictures. Everyone's been telling them, you know, you take good pictures. Like, you know, as an artist, what are some stuff that you struggle with and that you can give some advice on?
Yeah. I like just got reminded is that there's no formula to this. Like there's no one way to become a photographer. There's no one way to do it. There's no one way to make it. There's no one way to get into a certain style of photography. Like everyone has a different story and a different path to get there.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I think you have to remember is that your story or come up story won't look the same as someone else's. How they got that one break because they met that one person.
Don't compare yourself.
Exactly. So like they met that one person in the subway and then they introduced them to this and then they got that job and then all of a sudden they're shooting celebrities every day. It's like, that might not be your story and stuff. So I guess one of the aspects is like, do what you can with what you have.
Yeah.
And let your story like unveil itself. But continue to be, like you have to hustle with it.
Yeah.
Like if you really want it, you have to continue to pursue. One thing I tell her, one thing I tell myself is that like, I forgot where I heard it, probably Rick Rubin, I listen to him a lot. But he said, if you want to make it, you just can't give up. And it's like the people that don't make it, they just stop at some point. But if you continue to go, at some point you're gonna make it. Like, you know what I mean? And making it might look different for everyone. And making it might not look what you thought it was gonna be. But for me, like one example is I'm still pushing for something else, right?
Yeah.
But I remember like 6 months ago, I was like, I want to do more concert photography. And now I shoot like 3 to 4 concerts a month. You know what I mean? Because I ended up in a position in a job that like allows me to do that. And I didn't even realize it until I was like, bruh, I'm exactly where I wanted to be 6 months ago, but I'm still pushing for something else.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But taking that moment and that time to like be thankful for where you are now, but then also continue to strive to get
push.
to somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself as much as possible in your art and how you create.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're always going to be, comparison can be good because it can be motivating.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, I really love how they did that. I want to continue to push myself.
You can appreciate another artist and like
Exactly.
you can be like, oh, like I want to get to that level.
I want to get to that level.
Yeah.
Or that inspired me. But where comparison is paralyzing is when you now think that I suck or I'm less than because I'm not at that place.
Yeah.
And then you discourage your own art and your own creativity.
Man, Nick, it's been like such a privilege like talking to you today. Thank you so much for making time like out of your busy schedule. Like I'm really honored.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for talking. So it was good.
Man, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been a privilege. Please tune in into all of our social medias. We usually are going to be dropping videos on Friday. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to our Instagram, our TikTok to keep for all updates, encouragement, and other interviews. Anything else you want to talk to our artists or viewers that are looking at you right now?
Looking at me right now. At the end of the day, just do it.
Yeah.